From orphan to billion-dollar luxury empire in a world where time is everything, one name stands above all others: Rolex. The crown logo, ticking precision, the symbol of success worn by presidents, explorers, and billionaires. But behind the gold and glamour lies a story few truly know. A story not of inherited wealth, but of vision, obsession, and the relentless pursuit of perfection by one man who started with nothing. This is the untold story of how an orphaned boy built the most iconic watch brand in history, and how Rolex became a global symbol of excellence, worth billions of dollars today. Hans Wilsdorf was born in 1881 in Bavaria, Germany. By the time he was 12, tragedy had already struck. Both his parents had died, leaving him and his siblings orphans. He was sent to live with relatives who sold the family business and placed the children in a boarding school. Life was harsh, but it taught Hans something that would define him forever: discipline, self-reliance, and a deep understanding of time. At school, Hans was fascinated by precision. He loved mathematics, languages, and anything that required structure and focus. After graduating, he found a job with a pearl exporter in Switzerland, a country known for its watchmaking. It was there, surrounded by the ticking of mechanical clocks, that his obsession with timepieces began. In 1900, at the age of 19, Hans joined a watchmaking firm in La Chaux-de-Fonds, one of Switzerland's watchmaking capitals. He was meticulous, driven, and visionary, but he quickly realized something: watches, especially wristwatches, weren't taken seriously. Back then, men carried pocket watches. Wristwatches were considered fragile accessories for women. Hans didn't agree. He believed that one day the wristwatch would replace the pocket watch entirely, but only if it could be made both elegant and accurate. It was an idea far ahead of its time. At 24, he moved to London, a city at the center of global trade, and in 1905, with a modest investment, he founded a company with his brother-in-law, Alfred Davis, Wilsdorf and Davis. Their goal was simple, but ambitious: to assemble high-quality timepieces using Swiss movements and sell them in England. But Hans had something much bigger in mind. He wanted to create a brand that stood for precision, reliability, and prestige. A watch that could perform flawlessly anywhere, from royal dinners to the depths of the ocean. In 1908, he registered a new trademark. The name had to be short, memorable, and universal, something that would sound elegant in any language. After testing hundreds of options, one came to him while riding a horse-drawn carriage through London: Rolex. Hans said it sounded like the winding of a watch, and it was easy to say in any tongue. With that, Rolex was born. But there was a problem. The world didn't yet believe in wristwatches. Men thought they were too delicate for daily use, especially for war, sports, or adventure. So Hans set out to prove everyone wrong. He poured his energy into improving accuracy and durability. In 1910, Rolex achieved something revolutionary. It became the first wristwatch in the world to receive the Swiss Certificate of Chronometric Precision, a distinction previously reserved only for marine chronometers. It was proof that Rolex was indeed just a piece of jewelry. It was a precision instrument. 4 years later, Rolex received another milestone. In 1914, the Kew Observatory in England awarded a Rolex wristwatch, a Class A precision certificate, the same certification given to the most accurate naval instruments. This changed everything. Suddenly, the world began to see wristwatches differently. Rolex's reputation for precision was born. But Hans wasn't satisfied. Precision was only part of the story. Watches also needed to survive the elements: dust, moisture, shock. So, in 1926, Rolex introduced the Oyster, the world's first truly waterproof wristwatch. It was a breakthrough in design and engineering, with a sealed case that kept out water and dirt. To prove it worked, Hans came up with a marketing stunt that would define the brand forever. He gave an oyster to a young British swimmer, Mercedes Gleitz, who planned to swim across the English Channel. When she completed her swim in freezing waters, and her Rolex was still ticking perfectly, the world took notice. The next day, Rolex ran a full-page ad on the front of the Daily Mail, showing the watch emerging from the water. It was brilliant. Rolex had just invented lifestyle marketing. Hans understood something few businessmen did at the time. People didn't just buy products, they bought stories. bought dreams, status, and proof of achievement. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, Rolex continued to innovate. The company introduced the perpetual movement, a self-winding mechanism powered by the motion of the wearer's wrist. No more manual winding, just pure, effortless precision. Then came the Datejust, the first automatic watch to display the date on the dial. By the 1950s, Rolex had become the watch of explorers, adventurers, and achievers. When Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay conquered Mount Everest in 1953, they did so wearing Rolex watches. When Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh dove to the deepest point of the ocean, the Mariana Trench in 1960, a Rolex Deep Sea Special was attached to their submarine. When it surfaced, it was still working perfectly. The message was clear: Rolex watches weren't just luxury items, they were instruments of endurance. And Hans Wilsdorf's genius wasn't just technical, it was psychological. He understood the power of association. Rolex became synonymous with success because it was seen on the wrists of those who had achieved it: explorers, scientists, athletes, and world leaders. In a world driven by competition and image, Rolex became the ultimate status symbol. The crown on the dial wasn't just a logo, it was a declaration of victory. But behind the prestige, Hans remained humble. He lived modestly, never flaunting wealth or luxury. He was known for his discipline and his quiet determination. In 1945, tragedy struck again. His beloved wife Florence passed away. They had no children. Heartbroken, Hans made a decision that would secure Rolex's future forever. He placed the entire company into a private trust, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, ensuring that profits would be reinvested into the business and donated to charity. To this day, Rolex remains privately owned, and its financials are a mystery. Analysts estimate its annual revenue exceeds $13 billion, with profit margins that would make Wall Street jealous. Hans Wilsdorf died in 1960, but his legacy lives on in every tick of a Rolex watch. The brand he built from nothing has become a timeless symbol of excellence, both literally and figuratively. Today, Rolex watches are worn by presidents, movie stars, athletes, and entrepreneurs. A single watch can sell for hundreds of thousands, even millions, at auction. The brand has managed to do something almost impossible: maintain exclusivity while selling over 1 million watches a year. And it all started with a 12-year-old orphan who believed in precision, hard work, and time itself. The story of Rolex isn't just about luxury, it's about vision. It's about proving that quality, patience, and relentless innovation can elevate even the simplest idea into something eternal. Hans Wilsdorf didn't just build a company, he built an empire of time. From orphan to billionaire brand builder, this is the story of Rolex, the crown that never stops ticking.